everyone. We're returning back into session. We had an executive session starting at 5:30 today, so I don't need to call the meeting to order. So we're going to start with awards and recognitions.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, in our recognitions, we will honor our 2014 and 15 master teachers. The district's Director of Human Resources, Paul Lombardo, is here to present these teachers and say a few words about their accomplishments. Paul, if you come up.
Thank you, Dr. Dixon, and good evening, everyone. Tonight we have 7 accomplished professionals receiving recognition for the Master in Teaching. The Master Teacher designation means that an educator demonstrates excellence inside and outside the classroom through consistent leadership and focused collaboration. The Master Teacher also has a wealth of understanding of knowledge in his or her subject matter, is sensitive to diverse student needs, and sets the bar high for students in the environment that allows them to achieve. Both the initial portfolio submissions and the renewal process are very rigorous. This designation is truly an honor, and the district is very proud of the accomplishments of these educators. Master teachers, as I call your name, please come forward and hold the applause till the end, and please remain standing here for a group photo. First, we have Vicki Larkins Forte, who teaches English at Cleveland Heights High School. Ms. Larkins Forte successfully submitted her initial portfolio this past year. Next, we have 6 master teachers who successfully submitted their renewal. So not only did these staff members do it once, they did it a second time, so I'm really proud of them. Lorna Askew, Intervention Specialist at Monticello Middle School. Yolanda Harris, ELA teacher at Monticello Middle. Catherine Lawrence, congratulations. Catherine Lawrence, media specialist at Heights High. Congratulations. Linda Rathke, 8th grade ELA and social studies teacher at Roxborough Middle School. Carlene Saad, who is an ELA support staff member at Boulevard Elementary, and she was also the Master Teacher Committee Chair. Congratulations. Melissa Strouth, math teacher at Heights High. So congratulations to all of you, and let's give them a warm welcome.
Congratulations, very nice.
Okay. Well, thank you. So we are going to move on. We don't have any requested audience, but we have 4 people who have signed up to make statements from the audience. So as I call your name, if you'll come forward, you'll have 5 minutes. Keep an eye. We'll give you a fair warning, maybe 30 seconds warning before your 5 minutes are up. And first we have Susie Kaiser, the topic HB 70.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Susie.
My name is Susie Kaiser. This is the first time in my history of this school district to address you in an open, in this way. So I'm here to speak for myself and also on behalf of the Heights Coalition for Public Education about House Bill 70, which was whisked through the legislature in June and effectively ends the democratic governance of the Youngstown City School District. This is relevant to us because it sets a terrible precedent for the future of elected boards of education in the state of Ohio. The Heights Coalition for Public Education is committed to public education as the cornerstone of our democracy. Public schools are worthy of public investment because they guarantee education to all children. They are democratic institutions because elected boards of education, people like you, provide the oversight to ensure that public funds are used well to achieve the education mission valued by our community. The bottom line in public education is children, citizenship, and democracy. It is not profit. Yet Ohio's elected officials continue to privatize this public institution. This law is part of that privatization process. The legislation, passed as a surprise and without any hearing process, punishes the Youngstown City School District for low test performance by taking control of their schools. It takes it away from the elected Board of Education. These public schools are no longer democratically governed. Furthermore, the door is wide open to privatization, a further subversion of the very essence of public schools. What makes this even more upsetting is that this power grab hangs on a very questionable use of standardized tests to make judgments about school quality. It is the latest high-stakes consequence of test scores, which are not accurate or meaningful measures of school quality or effectiveness or of student learning. And any person who knows anything about testing knows that it is a total subversion of testing to use tests for achievement tests to be used for any other purpose. It's not what you do. State leaders appear to be intent on judging and weakening public education, shifting public funds to unregulated private education providers, and unraveling the fabric of communities. This latest development now focuses on undermining the role of local elected boards of education. All of these policies are contrary to the legislature's responsibility to provide for a thorough and efficient system of public schools. The Ohio School Boards Association is opposed to House Bill 70. It is bad for Youngstown and a threat to the basics of a democratic system. They have drafted a model resolution calling for the legislature, the State Board of Education, the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, who, by the way, crafted the law, and the governor to change the law so that the community continues to have a voice in directing its local schools. I know that you're familiar with this legislation. We urge you, the elected leaders of our community, to adopt this resolution and to join forces with other boards of education in Ohio to support the Ohio School Boards Association position. I hope that this issue is on your agenda tonight. I urge you to use your important voices to oppose this legislative power grab. Speaking out is crucial to ending the war on our public schools. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next, Malia Lewis, topic traffic patterns at the high school.
Good evening, Dr. Dixon, President Pepler, members of the board. I just wanted to publicly thank Brian Lorenz and his staff for the incredible job that they're doing with the new traffic patterns. Yesterday was a complete snarl and horrible, disgusting mess trying to drop kids off at Wiley. This morning was beautiful. It was smooth as butter. Everything worked out lovely. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge their work. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Charles Drake, the topic financial responsibility.
May I approach and hand the board these?
Sure.
Thank you. What I have given each of the board members is a copy of a notice of a federal tax lien that was filed at the Cuyahoga County Recorder's Office on May 7th of 2014 for delinquencies in the Form 941 for the first quarter, second quarter, and fourth quarter of 2013. That is taxes that were withheld from your employees' paychecks and you were the trustees of. The assessment was filed by the IRS. You got a notice of assessment on September 2nd, 2013, and about 9 months later, the IRS finally filed the notice on May 7th of 2014. Then, on May 12th of 2015, they released the notice, the lien. So, my question to you as board members are, who was responsible if this was not an error for the error or the failure to pay taxes that were withheld from your employees? 2, how much were the penalties that it cost me and other taxpayers in this district for your failure and your incompetence to pay taxes that every businessman knows is due on a timely basis and is not your money, it is your employees' money? And 3, is that person still employed by the board? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Barb Rosenbaum with the topic of the greatest American sport.
Good evening.
Hello.
And the answer to that question is baseball.
Good to know.
I will start, however, by saying that I'd like to take a moment to thank both Eric Coble and Nancy Pepler for their contributions to the board over the past 8 years. Your election to the board was one of the good things that came out of the Coventry closing. I was the sitting PTA co-president at the time, and Eric and Nancy were the school's voice to the community while I continued to do my work as PTA president. They represented the school in a very positive way back then, and their board contributions to the master's facility plan and the 5-year strategic plan leaves our district in a better place for the future. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Nancy. You will be missed. I'm also here today to advocate for my son, Adam Rosenbaum. He is a senior at Heights High and potentially the last of 3 generations of Heights High graduates from the Rosenbaum clan. My daughters graduated in 2010, husband Bob in 1983, and mother-in-law Marcia Selsman Rosenbaum just attended her 80th birthday party at the Heights High graduation class of 1953. How about it? They had a great time. Adam has had some rotten luck on his ride through our Heights High schools. He was a Coventry kid, so his school was closed in the 3rd grade, and he separated from his friends. In middle school, his experience fell upon a series of changes in curriculum and staffing that we were all in a hurry to move on from. By the time he got to the high school, there was a revolving door of superintendents, and the small school model was dissolved. The cherry on top was a change in this year's PSEOP, nothing to do with us, which will keep him from going off campus as he had hoped this year. Through all of this, we assured him that his job was to keep his head down and work hard and let the adults in charge do their job, even if the transitions were rough around the edges. Through all of this, segue, baseball, he played baseball. He played every wind instrument in between, but baseball won out. While he was young and had to endure his father coaching him in the rec league, I'd remind him, when you get to high school, you'll be coached by real baseball guys. He worked hard, got bigger, stronger, found himself the only sophomore to make the varsity team. The team won the LEL this year, and led by second-year coach Ed Mugridge and his talented and dedicated assistant coaches, they went further in the districts than any team in Heights High 30 years standing. I know, just found out myself. They only lost that last game by 1-0. If you follow baseball, that's a pretty great game. Being a pre-Title IX high school student back in the day, I didn't fully understand the power of athletic team sports and what they could do to a student or to a boy. Adam has taught me how important it can be. The vote of confidence by the coaches in his sophomore year turned a switch on for him, both academically and in his leadership skills. He's now co-captain this year, and as catcher, he's a leader on the field. And just this weekend, a freshman parent stopped to tell me how generous Adam has been with organizing younger players for workouts and pickup games. Over the summer, he led a group of younger team members to volunteer for the Cleveland Indians baseball camp for underserved youth. Baseball has given my son the opportunity to lead and be a positive role model. What Adam couldn't have anticipated and has no control over is having a varsity field to play on next year. While the community is amazed, as am I, at the beautiful facade, and you should hear my mother-in-law, that came out from behind the science wing, all I can see is that we paved paradise and put up a parking lot. All I am saying to myself is, really? Adam gets the short end of the stick again? Really? I'm here today to make the board aware that while there are discussions with the athletic director on the coaching level around where to have a varsity field, the support for the effort is a little buried right now. We have an AD who has an awful lot on his plate, and that's to say the least. And it's football season, so everyone's around football. We're not thinking of baseball in the spring. The field location's been identified, but it's not ideal in many ways. There are about 4 to 5 weeks left to plant the grass that needs to be planted to create a safe environment. Adam has held up his end of the bargain. He's kept his head down and worked hard, the baseball field and his academics. He now sports a 4.0 GPA. I'm doing my part as the board president. Please don't let him, the coaching staff, or this young group of boys down by not keeping your eye on this ball. I'm asking for your support for the athletic director who could use it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. So we are moving on, thank you for that, to the superintendent's report.
Okay. So we had, like for the board to approve the Cleveland Heights High School Summer Senior Graduates of 2015, where we had 19 students.
Could I have a motion to approve the attached list of summer school senior graduates?
Second.
Any comments, questions?
The graduation was beautiful.
Yeah.
It really was beautiful. The kids did a great job. They spoke really well. They all looked really happy. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say, but they all looked really happy and really engaged, and it's nice. It's just nice to see them. We've all gone to these before, and it's almost, to me, it's almost more difficult to get yourself to graduate in the summer. And so I really think, I just want to give kudos to all the kids and all the extra work they put in to get this done.
Yeah, agreed.
Congratulations.
Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Coble?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
So also have a approval of a field trip for our Cleveland Heights Middle School and High School French and Chinese students, field trip to Quebec and Montreal, Canada, scheduled for May 2nd through the 5th, 2016.
Could I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Other than French and Chinese? That's an interesting.
Yeah, and the students have been going since 1991 on this trip, so we're just kind of continuing the tradition.
Mr. Gaynor?
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Coble?
Yes.
Next, we're moving on to personnel. I believe I can take items E 1 through 6 together, plus addendum together. Sorry, that wasn't.
Is there a
on the
motion?
agenda. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments, changes? Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Coble?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes. And moving on to business services. First, could I have a motion to approve item F1, recommendation to approve the GMP for the remaining Cleveland Heights High School?
So moved.
Second.
So good evening.
Hello.
My primary duty tonight is introductions. We have Steve Zanoni, Terry Rivera, and Pat O'Brien from the PMC Regency team, and John Orsini from the BHSM design team. I'm going to turn it over to Steve, who has a couple of comments, and then obviously we'll take questions from there. Steve.
Thank you. I'm really pleased tonight to present to you the final GMP for the high school. And I'm pleased to tell you we are on budget. And I thought it would be helpful before I go through that is to kind of just recap where we are budget-wise on all our projects, because I think there's always a misconception, when you hear different things. I heard someone say to me today, we have no money for the middle schools. Well, that's completely false. We do have monies, and we haven't even touched those. And today, and this is the report, the last FAC budget summary that was presented at the beginning of August. And for the high school, we have a budget of $92.2 million. I'm not going to go through every dollar. For Roxborough Middle School, we have $21.8 million, of which we've never spent, and that's there. We also have Monticello Middle School, which is $23.9 million, and we have the enabling projects, which includes Wiley, which is $17.8 million. And what that totals is to $155,500,000, which is the bond issue. Today, what we're asking you to do is to approve the actual GMP, the final GMP, which is for $56,157,846. That is right in alignment with the budgets, with the contracts that we assigned for those dollar values. And I want to make sure that you understand this GMP is really important. This one really moves the bid risk from the district to the construction manager. And this is what we've been working toward. If there are issues of things coming in over budget, they are taking on that risk. I do want to point out there are some allowances which are normal, which are basically numbers that we've assigned with the construction manager that basically say, hey, we don't have this portion designed. A good example is the furniture. This is very common. The reason we don't design all the furniture, we have an allowance figure in there, is because a lot of furniture changes and you try to buy that much later in the project. But we do have its value as an allowance in this GMP. The same is with technology, which is extremely common. And the reason is technology keeps changing even as we're building. And obviously, the district wants to have the most up-to-date technology the day they move in. And since this is a 2-year construction project, we're still working with the district in terms of determining what those elements are. But we do have an allowance. And then there are some allowances, not for the complete, but as you know, we've done some modifications that are going to be completed during the construction document phase. We have some elements there. So we have some elements of allowances. They equate to about $3 to $4 million within this GMP. That's not a high figure. That's very, very, very normal. Also, I wanted to point out that this GMP also has, but we don't have the dollars allotted, 4 alternates are inside this GMP. And the alternates are the full geothermal. The second alternate is the historic restoration of the auditorium. We have the renovation of the auditorium, bringing it up to standards, new seating, new painting, new lighting, things of that nature. But if we want to do a true historic renovation, we're having that as an alternate. We also have the orchestra pit as an alternate, and the fourth alternate is the rainwater collection system, which we would then use for the field irrigation, and that also is an alternate. So those are the alternates that are as part of the project. As I said, this is really important for us to get this approved today because we're going to allow then the construction manager actually has some elements already out for bid, and they're going to get those numbers, and we want to have him be the one who has to be able to deal with the pricing and what the bids come in at. If I could ask you if you have any questions.
I just had, are we going over the sheet?
Yes,
Okay.
we'd be more than happy to, yes.
Just for my own clarification, I guess, more on the list, we've got glazing and metal panels at 3.7 million. I assume glazing includes the windows, correct?
Yes, that is the windows.
Let's see, what other question? Just HVAC was 12 million. I guess what you had, the number, one of the lines has the pool at $800,000, but that's just the actual pool. The other, the shell around it and
Not,
everything else.
it's not the building. It's
Exactly.
the pool, and it has very specialized equipment that's part of it, and you buy that as a package. It's kind of interesting. These are actually the bid packages.
Okay.
So we have a package called a pool package, and that's that value.
Because when we were talking about an auditorium, the cost was much higher, but that's because that
Absolutely.
includes the shell. and
That's
the
correct.
seat. Okay.
The mechanical system is not in there, that's in the mechanical.
And then, other question I had was, we had the construction contingency at 1.5, or 1.59, then you had a reduction of 328,000, which was about 20%. What was?
The reason we were able to do that, we worked with the construction manager on this, and we have, as you know, we have already received bids back. We had previous GMPs, which included the steel, the site, the demo, and that's the value of their construction contingencies, and we were able to get a reduction from the CM. It's a common negotiation thing that we do with them.
And I had a question on the sustainability report and lead, but I can ask that later, so that's, that was my only question regarding the GMP.
Just quick question. Before we had some values attached to these alternates. Does that mean we don't have an idea what they're going to cost us at this point?
We
What
don't.
does it mean?
We do. We have some values. They did not estimate them because it's very difficult to, and that's not part of the GMP process when you do an alternate. They've given us estimates. I can't remember, the full GEO was approximately 1.2 million
Well,
somewhere.
it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because I'm probably asking more of a process question than anything. Since we don't have values in there, does that mean that we have to go out and get another GMP?
No.
But
The
I
way
mean, for when
the way
those
the
things-
contract reads, once we get the bids back and we see what those values, those will be actual bid numbers, and then we can modify through a change order.
Yeah, but I'm
For
asking,
alternates.
Do we have to, for the alternates, do we have to get a GMP for those?
No, we're hoping that to pay for those alternates with bid savings, so the GMP does not rise. So if all of these bid packages that are going out now, if they come in lower, that savings is what we want to use to pay for those alternates.
Steve, just a point of
Yes.
clarification. I mean, when you say so the GMP doesn't rise, and maybe it would make some sense for the people watching to be sure that everybody understands. So GMP is the guaranteed maximum price. The GMP by definition can't rise.
That's correct.
So it wouldn't be we'd go out for a new GMP. It would be that if we had enough bid savings to pay for an alternate, then we can choose to use it for that. Would that be
That's
accurate?
correct. That is correct.
At which point that decision falls back to the board.
Yes.
Which of the alternates we would actually.
And the timing for that is actually, which I'm sure is not going to be till November, because we're asking them to guarantee this price well before all the bidding and all the documents are completed.
In the majority, I believe, all but the auditorium, we're going to pretty much have to make it, that'll be this fall. The auditorium, theoretically, our fail-safe is next spring.
Yes, that's correct.
If I could sort of go on with what I mean, obviously, I think the board is pretty well acquainted with this whole process, but just to be sure everyone understands, when you were talking about the alternates being inside this GMP, they're not just.
We're not buying the alternates.
clarify the-
That's
for
right.
people?
And also, I think we're not buying the alternates. Alternates we're going to get pricing for them. Right now, we could not afford them within the numbers that they guaranteed. But I think what's really important for everyone to understand, this is not a lump sum bid. This is called a guaranteed maximum price. All savings from bidding return to the owner. And if you recall, when we did the stadium, we had some bid savings, and we actually bought some alternates with that bid savings. A good example is, so the GMP never rose, but we used some of the alternates for bid savings to buy those. Good example was the bleachers on the visitor side, was bought that way. In the end, there's also, as you saw, a construction contingency. That, if it's not used, returns to us. And we actually reevaluate it at different progress points during the construction, at 25%, at 50%, and 75%. That construction contingency's main purpose is to allow the construction manager, if the thing goes over, he has some monies available to him to pay for that risk. If it goes under, if we don't use that, it returns to us. And so that's the great thing about this type of contract. It's quite different from the classic in the past. School districts had to do lump sum bidding, and if the bid came in over, we either had to go rebid or find more money, or if the bid came in, or any savings that contractor could get after he bid and won that award, he would pocket. So we're seeing, this is called an open book. We see every expense that goes through the GMP.
If I remember right, when we talked about when to cut the cord for the guaranteed maximum price, it had to do with being at 70% of
75% CDs, which we're at.
75%. Are we at 75%?
Yes, we are. We're actually a little bit farther along because we've done some more, but then we've done some changes, so we're at 75%.
One of the reasons that's good is because it brings a level of confidence because the drawings are far enough along.
Yes.
So
It allows the AE team to make changes to the documents prior to finalizing the documents in case we have to make changes. It's what we call the sweet spot. If you wait till they're 100% and then we have to ask them to change it, then that becomes a cost to us, and we want to avoid that cost.
I just want to thank everyone involved. I mean, again, I know this has been long and arduous,
Yeah.
many discussions with all different groups and just all across the board. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for hitting the budget.
We
On time,
appreciate
on
it.
budget. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Koval?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Okay, next, could I have a motion to approve item F2, the lease agreement between the Board of Ed and New Singular Wireless?
So moved.
Second.
So this is the cell tower at the high school, and they want to make some upgrades and some changes to that tower, and so they had to renegotiate a lease agreement with us to do that, and this is the action to approve it.
How much longer on the lease? I can't seem to find that.
That lease this term is about 10 years at this point.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Koval?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
I need a motion to approve item F3, approving the bus routes for the 2015-2016 school year.
So moved.
Second.
So we are required by the state to bring the formal bus routes to the board for your approval, and I hope you don't have any specific questions.
Bus code
so
6, stop
detailed.
5. I didn't know that was actually
Yeah, why was stop 7 on item 84 at 741, not 742?
I'm making copious notes.
Okay.
Could you explain exactly what's going on with Route 8? It's kind of interesting thing. I don't know what the time frame is as far as the bus drivers are concerned, but it seems to me like Route 8 runs from 2:30 to 6:30 in the afternoon. Do they end up having 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the afternoon?
Right, their shift that's very common, that their work shift is split. Right.
Do we have a sense of who we're transporting yet, in terms of public-private number of
Yeah,
students,
I'm sure Scott Smith could provide that, absolutely. Yes.
So historically, we've been about 50/50, I think.
Right.
I think that's right.
That's correct.
I did have one question, and actually a compliment. I worked for a transportation company for a while, so I'm familiar with these insane routes. So one or two of these, the load had like 100 kids on it, but I assume we don't that's more, but it was, I think, one of like Hebrew Academy where we know the kids, or most of us, we know the kids are walking Andrews Court around Oakwood as opposed to, so if the load exceeds what a bus would have, are we doing 2 buses, or do we know that?
It may either be 2 buses, or it just may be that historically we know what the load factor is in terms of what students actually ride.
Gotcha.
And Scott has made adjustments accordingly based on that historic knowledge.
Because that was the one that jumped out. I was like, whoa,
Right.
we don't put 100 kids
Right,
on a bus.
no,
Then I looked at the
absolutely.
route and I'm like, okay, that's because they're not really, they're eligible, but they're not using it.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
And I'll just say one thing, I mean, I'm the one, I've always made fun of this, that it comes to us like we're gonna, like Eric decided to jump on the 725 that he wanted to do. But I know that the Transportation Department really runs these routes, and they check and see if they can hone these routes, and it's pretty tedious work from my standpoint, so they do a really good job.
Yes, thank you.
They end up over at the parking lot over on Taylor. I mean, on Mayfield.
Yes, that's where our bus depot is
Has
now.
that extended our travel time in any way?
I don't think it's had a significant impact, Ron. No.
I think if anything, it's actually more centrally located for the, for our students is probably actually better. I don't know, for the non-public routes, it may.
Right. It hasn't had a substantive impact.
Okay.
Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Koble?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes?
And finally, under Business Services, I need a motion to approve item F4, the donation of $1,135 to Delisle Options Center.
So moved.
Second.
Just note that we're grateful for the donation.
For the Options Global Ambassadors Initiative. Yeah. Mr. Gaynor?
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Koble?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to finance. First, I need a motion to approve item G1, the financial reports.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gaynor, do you have anything?
Not unless there are questions. Those are the monthly financial reports, the standard.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Koble?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve item G2, the approval for a delegate for the district to the annual business meeting of the Ohio School Boards Association.
So moved.
Second.
Thank
And that
you,
is Mr.
Mr. Register. Thank you for
Well, I have a
that.
comment.
You have a comment?
Yeah, clarification.
Okay.
And the recommendation is, it lists me as board president, so we should make that modification.
Right.
Maybe it's emeritus. Mr. President,
He's
we're
right.
no longer president.
It's just something that, well, I don't know if we
right,
sent that to
Gotcha.
them,
Yep.
but it's something that we need to probably make sure we get correct.
Okay. All right, Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Koble?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
I need a motion to approve items G3 through 5. I can take those together.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you moved.
I'll just note, unless there are any specific questions, that this is really a result of the Affordable Care Act and reporting requirements that we have to both track and make sure that every employee has, who has 30 hours has
Yeah.
been offered
Yeah.
health care, and also that the reporting requirements on an annual basis, the federal form, I don't remember the number of the form that has to go for every employee and a dependent. So these are contracted services for those items
So we have to create additional paperwork on each employee to,
and their dependents.
Yeah. Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Koble?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
And finally, in finance, I need a motion to approve item G 6 through 8.
So moved.
Second.
I will just pass to you quickly. Ms. Pardee prepared, because there's a lot of detail in those grants that she submitted under item number 8. And I think she just wanted to make sure that everyone had a feel, even though those were entitlement grants, not competitive, just the amount of work that goes into those and the detail that's involved. So this is really part of an executive summary from her that details out for all of those grants how they align with the goals in the strategic plan. So at the request of Dr. Dixon, she put that together for you tonight.
Great, thank you.
Any questions or comments, gentlemen? Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Coble?
Yes.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
All right, so moving on to the board president's report. I guess I have a couple of things to say. First of all, for those of you from the Heights Coalition, we will be discussing the proposed resolution and introducing it as new business a little bit later, so wanted to share that with you. Secondly, I really appreciate, Malia, your comments about things getting cleaned up for today. We knew that day one was going to be difficult, but I've heard from a lot of folks that things have moved along very smoothly, and we hope to continue to hear from people if there are questions, concerns, problems at the Wiley campus of Heights High. But I'm pleased. I don't know if you want to add anything to the board president's report on that, because you and I had a nice chat about that this afternoon.
I would just say, kudos to the team. The team worked as a team from all the departments in the schools, the teachers. It's been great. They've been outside, inside. The kids have just been wonderful, but it was a total team effort. So it's my Cleveland Heights, University Heights team coming together. It has shown. So kudos to the team.
Really, really pleased. So thank you for that. I also wanted to say that I make fun of myself every year for getting teary-eyed at graduation, which I do. I also got a little misty at convocation this year, hearing our students talk about the goals in the strategic plan. Hearing those kids, a sixth grader who presented like that, a 14-year-old who presented like that. I mean, I was so impressed, I just have to say, and hearing the excitement from the teachers, seeing a lot of the teachers I'm Facebook friends with, for example, who are just saying really very positive and exciting things about the school year and how they're feeling. So it makes me really happy going into this year with the everything coming together, with the strategic plan, with the new building, with all of the transition over here. Let's keep it smooth, but I'm really pleased about that. So I guess that's it for the board president's report for this evening. Do we have any unfinished business? Okay, and on new business, I guess because I do have it, I am going to ask for a motion to approve the following resolution, which Mr. Gaynor has shared with me that I do need to read aloud before the motion. And so, no, that's okay. I think it's important. And Susie didn't have 5 minutes, in her 5 minutes to hear all of this, but I do want to read this because I completely agree that it's important for us to do. Whereas public schools have been the hallmark of the American education system and the foundation of the nation's democracy, and whereas Ohio's schools have traditionally been governed by an elected Board of Education, the members of which have been chosen by their fellow community members to make sound decisions concerning the education of the community's children and to determine the most effective use of local tax dollars in the pursuit of that goal, and whereas the 2010 appointment of an academic distress commission in the Youngstown City Schools and the recent restructuring of that commission to function under a CEO appointed by individuals who may reside outside the Youngstown community, as opposed to being named by those who best know that community, has set aside the ability of the elected Board of Education to exercise its governing authority. And whereas those restructuring changes were contained in a last-minute amendment to House Bill 70, which the Ohio General Assembly passed without any serious input from the Youngstown City Board of Education or the Youngstown community. And whereas the adoption of this amendment was completed by Columbus-based legislators with little or no connection to the Youngstown community and without any genuine effort to engage those most affected by the action, and whereas this legislation lays the groundwork for the same restructuring changes to take place in other districts across the state, therefore be it resolved that we, the Board of Education of the Cleveland Heights University Heights City School District, do object and protest the manner in which this draconian legislation was passed and question how the district reforms and improvements can be achieved without involving and engaging the elected Board of Education and the Youngstown community. And be it further resolved that we ask the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, as the manager of the Academic Distress Commission process, to take appropriate steps to engage the elected Board of Education and community in the school improvement process prior to appointment of the new CEO. And be it further resolved that we implore the members of the Ohio General Assembly, the State Board of Education, the Governor, John Kasich, to seek amendments to House Bill 70 and the Academic Distress Commission procedures that will preserve and enhance democracy and local control. And be it further resolved that such amendments should embrace the original intent of House Bill 70, fostering community engagement and collaboration to create community learning centers that will better serve Youngstown's children and families. And be it further resolved that all Ohio Boards of Education adopt this resolution and forward said resolution to the governor, the members of the Ohio General Assembly, the State Board of Education, and the State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
So moved.
I asked for.
Second.
Any other comments, gentlemen?
Just on the last be it further resolved. I think the statement was that all Ohio Boards of Education, I think we probably should have the Cleveland Heights, University Heights in that place. The last be it further resolved, the last piece says
Well,
all.
but we did through this statement. We're asking other boards to join us through that. Would you agree with that assessment?
I think that's what I read it as. That's the way I read it too, yeah.
Is that a request?
All of these are requests.
Yeah, I know, but the resolve is a statement of what we resolve. We can't resolve that all boards adopt this resolution. We can resolve that we adopt it. It could be
Okay.
semantics on my
Thank you.
part, but I
That we
think that we
request.
can resolve that we adopted, but I don't know that we can, if we want to say we request, then we can say that, but I think we can probably only resolve what we do.
That's a good point. Should
So we're
we
saying
amend
that
that?
we resolve, or we request that.
We request,
all-
right.
okay.
Thank you. Mr. Gaynor?
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Koval?
Yes.
Thank you. Any board committee reports?
Me? I've got two, actually, I only have one this week because one got canceled. The Facilities Accountability Committee, their last meeting got canceled because our last meeting got bumped. So I have nothing to report from FAC. And from Alumni Foundation, the next Heights Gear Sale is September 12th. I think that's the right day, if I do my math right. What's the?
Saturday, that's a Saturday.
What's this Saturday?
That's the
6th?
12th.
Yes.
And it's, yes, the 12th. Next sale at Heights Gear. It's on the website. There's flyers outside. I'm terrible with calendars. We had 3 sales this past weekend at Convocation, the home football game, and at the Heights Gear store. So our thanks to the Collier family for pressing their children to do service at all 3 events. And also just the number of photos have been posted. If you haven't seen it already, go drive by the high school on Cedar Road. The entire science wing is down. And from everyone who I've heard from, they're all, the occasional person is mourning the loss of the science wing. Everyone else is just like going, wow. So it looks very impressive, including the brick that we all thought was going to be gone. It's pretty much looks like, well, if people are very excited with what it looks like now, wait 2 years and you'll really say, wow. So we've been posting the images on the alumni Facebook group, and the response has been tremendous. So that's my 2 reports.
Any others? Okay. Any correspondence and announcements?
Just a quick question. Are we meeting on the 15th? The agenda says, doesn't have that meeting on there, and I was just wondering.
Oh,
We are meeting on the 15th, aren't we?
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know,
That's a good-
we
that's a
haven't
good
sent
catch.
notices out
Yeah.
yet, have we?
No,
we have not.
Okay.
no.
Well, we need to make sure that,
Thank you.
I just wanted to reiterate what's already been said in terms of the gratitude and congratulations to everyone involved for the opening of the school year under tremendous, more than any other school year since I've been part of the board, certainly the Herculean effort to get 2,000 students and hundreds of teachers all moved across the city gracefully was done seemingly gracefully, and sounds like 24 hours later, even more gracefully. So congratulations to security and business services and all the teachers, all the staff who really worked hard to make this happen for the students, and it seems like it's working. So thank you. Thank you.
Nothing else? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Koval.
Yes.
Ms. Pepler.
Yes.
Mr. Register.
yes.
Mr. Silverman.
Yes.
Mr. Zucker.
Yes.